What we are doing in Nigeria is a lot of people are taking risks. And in business, yes, they say, don't fear, take risks so that you grow. But you don't see the risks there and you jump into it. So you have been told to take risks. It's when it is unimaginable. You don't imagine it. You don't foresee it. But these days, I pity people who are doing any type of business in Nigeria. Is it, if you rely on energy, I think in one of the stations I was privileged to appear, one of the broadcast media, I was, the MD was, we were discussing informally. He was telling me, say, Louis, to run this business is no longer for. What is he spends on diesel alone on weekly basis, on weekly basis, can pay his staff, all of them. So imagine that kind of, what kind of business are you running? Are you running a charity home? Apart from the issue of technology, energy, that government agents, you see somebody, a woman who is selling mango, fruits. They will come, you see another person standing, a man. Once it is 10, Madam will take go. That's Madam, bring money. What for? Some of them are agents of government. Some of them are friends of government, touts, used in the election. So they can look elsewhere. Security operatives will look elsewhere when you are undermining somebody's interest. So I wonder, when people do business, it's like, in Nigeria today, it's like, well, we have come out, we have started, there's nothing we can do.
Joining us from Sweden, all the way from Sweden, is Dr. David Okelue Ubunta. Dr. David, you're welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know that two things that this government did on the date it came on board was, one, to take out the subsidy on petrol, and then two, collapse the dual exchange that we had that a lot of Nigerians had complained about. And these two policies or decisions have come with a lot of impact on the lives of the ordinary Nigerian. Inflation has gone up, and the value of the naira has dropped tremendously. As at the day that this government took over, I think the naira was about 750 or so. As we speak, the naira has gone down to as much as 920, 930, 950 to the dollar. So, as an expert, what do you think the government should do now to improve the lives of the ordinary Nigerian, to see that the economy can bounce back, naira gets stronger, and then we can reduce this level of inflation?
Okay, thank you for having me once more. We, as Nigerians and elites and experts, at some point we agree that the fuel subsidy has to go. If you recall, in 2012, the government of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan wanted to remove. We heard about the cost of this petroleum subsidy, denying the economy of other things that we could have used those funds used in paying for subsidy. It came with a lot of opportunity costs, and we agree that yes, subsidy has to go. However, we expected that there should have been infrastructures, mechanisms put in place to cushion the effect of petroleum subsidy. You see, in governance, you wouldn't see it all until you have, gotten into that position. And I feel personally that the stoppage of payment of subsidy was hurriedly done because there were no cushions put in place. There were no palliatives put in place. Of course, we all know that if you remove subsidy, there will be cost of transportation costs will increase, which will now fuel increase in inflation, and then everything will skyrocket. However, we expected that certain palliative, modes of transportation, alternative modes of transportation should have been put in place before the removal of subsidy. Aside that, the refinery, we have refineries in this country, and none of them is working. We are expecting that there could have also been alternative sources of petroleum locally, so that if you are saying that the market price is going to drive the cost of the cost of petroleum products, then down here, because we have an agrarian society, what have we put in place to make sure that the impact of this subsidy, is cushioned? So, in as much as we agree that yes, subsidy has to go, but we expect that certain things should have been in place to make sure that at the end of the day, the people, the masses, do not suffer so much. We agree that there should be some degree of suffer, but extreme, suffer, where you now have transportation costs. I live in ENUGU. You have transportation costs, public transport from WAEC, for instance, to the secretariat, now costing almost about 350 naira to go and then to come back, something like that. And then you expect workers to pay this money and also go to work, 5 a week and all that. So we're expecting that, yes, there should have been infrastructures put in place to cushion the effect of transportation. There should have also be investments, put in place to cushion to help or improve production of foods, of food and all that. So that at the end of the day, when you remove subsidy, I mean, the impact will not be so much.
Fuel is one. Another is the removal of the dual exchange, where some people got the naira at a very cheap cost and others got it at a higher rate. But a lot of people thought that that singular move by government would have, increased rather than decreased.
The timing of removal of subsidy and of scrapping of the dual exchange rates, having them at the same time, I won't say is a very fantastic idea, because you are now dealing with two fundamentals at the same time. Okay, the exchange rate, yes, we agree that there were multiple exchange rates, and there is the need to synchronize it and have one so that everybody can be at par. And then the expectation is that it will help shore up the value of our naira. However, the reverse has been the case. Now, this could be because how much do we earn as foreign exchange? Let's start the question from there, or the conversation from there. We only rely on crude, the sale of crude oil, in order to earn exchange rate. Arguments have shown that in Nigeria, that we import so much and export little, that containers come into, that ships bet in Nigeria, fully loaded, but go out of the shores of this country empty. So what are we exporting? What are we selling as a country in order to earn exchange, foreign exchange? Of course, we all know that when you earn multiple income as an individual, you are better off earning foreign exchange from other avenues apart from crude oil. We would have been better off. Okay, the abolishment of the dual exchange rate has really put us into a position that, some of us are surprised that up till now, naira has not gone to 1,000 naira, because there were really nothing in place to make sure that, yes, because this thing is like forces of demand and supply. You only distribute across what you have. You cannot distribute what you don't have. Okay, and also the means by which we access this foreign exchange is also a problem. For instance, before I made this trip, to Sweden, I had to source foreign exchange. Okay, I called my bank. I needed to take out dollar. I needed to get euro. But when I called them, I said, look, I need to take out dollar and I need to buy euro. Can you help me out with that? They said no, that they can only give me dollar, and then I'll have to go and look for how I'll get euro. All right, but I don't think that is the right, I don't think that should be a right practice. If I have dollar and as a bank, I should be able to access euro from you. So the policies that has made banks that, yes, we know that the domiciliary account, you can only take out what you have. But I am thinking that the banks should be a financial, when we say it is a financial supermarket, it should play that role as a financial supermarket, so that whatever you need in terms of financial services, you are able to get it from the bank. But whereby you now go to the bank, you take out US dollar, you now go to the Bureau de Change or the Aboki by the roadside to now go and buy euro. I don't think it's a very good idea.
Let me ask, for government, they've poured in some more foreign exchange or some more dollar into the market. And in their thinking, that is supposed to bring down that's supposed to shore up, the naira. But that's not happening. Is that the only measure they can take to make sure that the dollar is strengthened?
No, but I think they did that as a stopgap measure or as a short-term measure to see what happens. But the truth is that those things are not sustainable. You see, as a country, we need to go back to the roots. We need to, sit down and say, and take statistics. Where are we as a country? Where do we have comparative advantages? What are the things we can do so that we can earn multiple income or multiple revenue as a country in terms of foreign exchange? And then we come down to invest in those things. It's going to take time. It's not something that will happen in 1 year, in 6 months. No, it's going to take time because we need to. I think part of the problem we have is that we also lack long-term planning. And we can liken that because of, the kind of politics we play, where a party comes in and every other thing that the previous regime is doing, they will push it aside and start things that they can do. And that you have 4 years or you have 8 years. Nigeria is not going to end or stop in the next 8 years. Nigeria is going to be there forever. So we need, it's lack of proper planning. We need to sit down, come together, bring stakeholders together across party lines, across interest groups, and sit down and say, okay, where do we want this country to be in the next 20 years, in the next 25 years? And we sit down and we draw a roadmap and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. So any government that comes in, if it means giving it, some aspect of legislation to make sure that any government that comes in will continue in that trajectory so that in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, we are on the path of progress. Not that we make some progress today, another government comes in after 4 years or 8 years, abolishes every other thing that may have been done, and then kickstarts, their own. So in this way, it now gives us that opportunity to now say, okay, we can earn foreign exchange from, what we used to have in the past, from cocoa, from palm, okay, from the oil that is what is it called again? The cooking oil that's there's a wide held view that Malaysia came to Nigeria, took away palm fruit, and then Malaysia went back, developed it, and today Malaysia is one of the top countries exporting palm oil and the rest of them. So if we want to diverse our sources of earning exchange, we need to make investments, and these investments are not going to happen overnight. These are things that will take up to 3 years, 5 years before you now begin to reap the fruits of this investment. So in as much as short-term measures are good, but I think we really need to sit down and say, what are those things we need to produce in this country? And we need to add value to, and we need to export and begin to earn foreign exchange. It's only when we have the supply of foreign exchange outweighing the demand and all that.
I agree with you that there has to be long-term planning. But in the short term, many Nigerians say that the corruption and the complexities around the foreign exchange policies is making it continuously impossible for us to make the Naira strong. One particular area that I've heard people talk about is that it is only in Nigeria and maybe a few other developing countries that you can go to an aboki or to a bureau de change or to a foreign exchange trader and you exchange $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, and there's no record, there's no documentation, there is no receipt, there is no identification of the individual that is buying this foreign exchange. Nobody knows what the person is doing with it. Nobody knows whether he just wants to buy it and speculate. And they say that probably because of this, a lot of foreign exchange not needed for everyday trading, exchanging hands and further, putting pressure on the little foreign exchange that is available. And that this is actually the reason why the Naira, no matter what you do, the Naira will never be strong. Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes. And to give credence to that, I've had two experiences. One was last year. I was coming back from the United States and we were transiting in Frankfurt. And I needed to make few purchases at the duty-free zone, okay? Then I needed to change US dollar to euro. And when I got to the bureau de change there, where I would change it, they demanded for my international passport, a means of identification, as low as $100. I had to present my passport, and they scanned it, and they took record of it, and then exchanged the US dollar and gave me euro, and I was able to make my purchases. That I am in Sweden, just like about last week, okay? I went to change as low as let me just use that, 200 euro to Swedish krona. They demanded for my international passport. They demanded for my passport. So there is some means of identification. Even though nobody asked me what you want to do with the money, but my details have been collected, and then the amount I exchanged, must have been noted. This is at adverse with what we have in Nigeria. When the BDCs came on board around 1989 or thereabout, they were there to take charge of small needs of people in terms of small volumes of foreign exchange needs. All right. But today, the BDCs are the ones really now. I can bet you that any amount you want, like you have mentioned, $100,000, BDCs can, commune among themselves and provide that amount of money for you. So this is also at advance with what we have in the developed clients. Okay, I needed to make a payment in krona. Swedish, doesn't use, you can't use euro to make payment. And then I now have to get someone that will help me with that payment. And I told him, okay, make this payment. I will send either euro or US. I'll send either euro or US dollar to you. Then, knowingly, the guy told me, okay, whichever one I sent, that what he's going to receive is the Swedish krona. I said, really? He said, yes, because nobody is going to give you, they're going to get is the Swedish krona as an end user. I told myself, I said, this is not what it is in Nigeria. In Nigeria, if someone sends euro or naira to you, you go to the bank will pay out euro or dollar to you. So these are some of the things that I think, by way of legislation, by way of policies, we can begin to bring into our country to see how we help the management of exchange rate. So that if someone pays in money pays in US dollar or pays in euro to you, what you get is the naira, and you spend the naira.
And I was going to ask you, today in Nigeria, we're almost cashless, especially when it comes to the naira. Is it not possible for us to be cashless in the use of foreign exchange? What am I saying? That where government does a law like you can't buy across the counter more than $5,000 or more than $10,000, has to be made through the cashless process, which makes it possible for, in the documentation in the bank, that a certain Mistilo had exchanged $200,000 today, and he's coming tomorrow again to exchange another $200. Where, for instance, there should be a tracking process to know who is exchanging, because the way it is, one family can exchange 1 million naira, and there will be no documentation. The father exchanges 200 today, another person goes to another place, exchanges, and this money, they will just take it and open their safe in their house and put the money. Is it not possible for government, as a way of stopping the abuse, greater than a certain amount, must be done through the banking system and not across the counter? If not for anything, to fight corruption.
Yeah, all these things are doable, and they are possible only if we have the will. Remember, you said that we're almost near cashless in Naira. I don't see that. Okay, before the election, the issue of cashless policy came in. Fantastic idea, brilliant idea by MFLA, all right? But I think the timing was not good, because election was near and all that, Naira redesigned policy and all that. I mean, you need a long time period, to implement it and allow the system take care of it, and then it becomes part of the system, okay? You remember vices, kidnappings, and the rest of them were on the increase before the election. But when the Naira redesign policy came on board, there was a reduction in all those vices, because people no longer see Naira to carry about to go and pay ransom and all that. Now, immediately after the election and immediately after the Supreme Court judgment concerning the usage of both the old and the new notes, all right? We all went back to square one, and at the end of the day,